Hello everyone, welcome to ChessVisor, your wise choice to improve your chess. In today's video, I'm going to show you a very interesting game played between Arjun erigaisi and Ravi Teja, and this game was played in MPL 58 Senior National Chess Championship 2022. And it was round number 4, and little thing about this game is that Arjun played an incredible game. It was like the tall game because of the sacrifices and opening the lines for the attacks. So without much delay, we will be looking at the game. So if you are new here, consider subscribing to the channel and press the bell icon to get notified for the future videos. So here Arjun started the game with the e4, and Ravi Teja replied with the c6, the car-kann defense. So Arjun grabbed the center, d4, d5. So this is the main move, and here instead of the old main move, now Arjun is choosing the e5 idea. That's the latest move or the new main line, that is advanced variation of the car-kann. And after bishop f5, now he is choosing another interesting line, that is h4. It's a tall variation of the advanced car-kann. So after this, black played queen b6. Okay, after that knight e2, bishop to g4. I think black is kind of wasting his tempos by moving the bishops here and there, and also he is bringing the queen into the game earlier, but it is not helping him, as you are going to see in a moment. So after bishop to g4, h5 played by Arjun, and then h6 stopping the pawn further, and then rook h4 hitting the bishop. So he doesn't want to give up the bishop earlier, and also he wasted multiple tempos on the bishop, so he retreats the bishop to d7, and then here comes the c4. So just trying to hit the center with the c4. Here for example, if you think about capturing this pawn, you're already multiple tempos are down. For example, we can play knight a3. Okay, after queen a6, you are trying to defend the pawn, but here comes the other knight c3. So now we are not only developing the knight, and also we are unleashing the discovered we are opening the eyes of the diagonal, right? So knight c3, and you may think about the move b5, but after knight to, maybe even we can play the move queen f3 also, tactical move. Or after knight c2, white is completely winning out of the opening because of the multiple pawn moves, and our development is very so it's better than black. So here another variation to consider here, after this move b5, we can even play the move queen f3. If you think about forking this piece, we can simply take on c4. We are hitting the queen, and also we are hitting the f7 pawn. So it's a complete win out of the opening. So here after c4, he played e6. If you carefully think about this, if you analyze the whole board now, you may find that okay, the black is like a kind of playing a bad variation of the French defense, and also wasted multiple tempos during the process. So knight bc3, d takes c4, now knight g3, trying to open the bishop's diagonal and also trying to recover the pawn. So queen goes home and attacks the rook, and here comes rook f4. Okay, Arjun did not want to go back with any of his pieces, so rook f4. So he is not only playing the tall variation, he is trying to play like a tall. Okay, so rook f4 and then b5, so trying to hold the pawn. Knight ge4. Okay, so centralizing the knight. f5. So here comes the en passant, e takes f6, knight takes f6, and then queen f3. Now black should be very very careful here because of the sacrifices idea is coming, and he actually, there is a lot of pressure is going along the f file, especially on the f6 square, but he did not notice that, and he played knight a6, the right way to continue the position. In fact, you are actually going to castle, right? So the main move, or the good move to consider here, is to play bishop e7 and then try to get the king out of the center. But he played on the other side of the board, but it is not going to help him, as you are seeing now. So knight a6, rook takes f6, the exchange sacrifice now. After g f6, knight f6 check, king e7, and the king dance is starting now. So after this, he played bishop f4. Okay, we cannot touch the knight, it's not a free knight, because if you simply capture this, you are running into a simple mate in 5 or 6. So let me show that for you. So bishop e5 check, king e7, queen f6 check, king e8, queen g6 check, king e7 and then bishop f6 check. You may think, okay, the king is running away, but it is not actually, because after king to d6 we have queen g3 check. All the squares are covered, that means the pawn has to drop e5 and then queen takes e5 check. Now we reach the position which I shown in the thumbnail. So here that kind of problem is there for black, so he has to be very careful before he gets greedy. So he played bishop e8. Okay, so maybe creating some sort of escaping squares. After this, Arjun played bishop to e5. So now it sets up a discovery, and here comes bishop to g7. He is trying to defend the position. So after this, Arjun played knight f d5 check, and another variation is important variation to consider here is to simply break the center with a d5. Now you have the option of capturing with both the pawns, I mean the e or the c pawn, but both the variation are leading into the same thing. For example, if you take with the d pawn, we can simply sacrifice our knight in the center. For example, knight f takes d5 check, e takes d5, knight takes d5 check, and king e6, and then bishop to g7, queen takes d5, queen f6 check, and it's a complete winning position for white. So let us go back and understand our main move that is played in the game. So he played knight f d5 directly. So c takes d5 and then bishop takes g7. So here if you count the material, or if you look at the position carefully for evaluation, our bishop is very active, our queen is active. Okay, now we have to figure out our these two pieces. And if you look at the black's position, uh, it is not clear, okay, how many pieces are active. Only one piece is active, rest all of the pieces are sitting in the back rank. So that's the problem for black. So queen to a5 trying to become active. So bishop takes h8, and here I would like to highlight one important principle in chess, that is whenever you are having some extra material, but that extra material is not helping you, you should give back the material to hold the position. So that's what I think the international master is doing here. So after bishop takes h8, he played b4. Okay, trying to give some counter attack on the queen side, because I think he has some majority on the queen side, and he has got some strong pawn center. So he is trying to give the queen side attack. So here comes our bishop f6 check, and here another option would be to play. I think knight to d1 is also possible here, because after, let's say, bishop to a4, queen f6 check, and again white is clearly better. But here Arjun played bishop f6 check first, and then king to d7, and then he played knight to d1, and he gave the discovery with the b3 check now. So queen goes to c3, and now comes knight to b4. So here after knight to b4, he played knight e3, and another option is to play directly, we can play the king move d2. There is one purpose for this idea, because after, let's say, bishop takes h5, we can even simply play f3 and then g4 like that. The game is different. Why it is different, let me show you. Because after knight e3, he played bishop takes h5, now comes a3. So here after a3, now kind of the queen is kind of pinned to the king. So after rook to b8, he is taking advantage of that, and then rook to c1. Here comes the knight c2 check. If we played queen to, I mean king to d2 earlier, it's not possible, right? So king to d2. For example, in this position, if we take the knight, all of a sudden the black will be better. For example, after this, queen takes c3 check, b takes c3, bishop to g6, knight b4, even b2 is possible, and all of a sudden black is equalized the game, and I think black is better here. So we should not blunder the game away. So he played the right move, that is king to d2, and then queen takes c3 check, king takes c3, keeping the structure intact, because we don't have advantage here on the queen side. So as you can see, there is a huge pawn center is there for black, and he has got a very big center, right? I mean the space advantage is very big. So he played rook f8, bishop e5, and one advantage for white is that he is having the bishop pair is always going to help in the open position. So now he has to simplify the position. So knight takes a3, b takes a3, rook takes f2. He is trying to promote the b pawn, that's why he is sacrificing this idea, I mean sacrificing the knight. and here comes our sacrifice. Knight takes e4. After d takes e4, he played bishop takes e4. Now the pawn structure which we were talking about high, now it is not there in the position. So after b2, he played simply rook to b1, and you cannot even attack the rook, right? So even if you does, we can simply going to we are going to simply capture the b2 pawn. So rook takes g2, rook takes b2, rook takes b2, and then king takes b2, and we entered in a into an end game where Arjun is having two bishop and two pawns, but here he is having three pawns. But the problem is, since it's an open position, we can simply hunt down all the pawns. So that's what he is going to do now. So he played bishop f3 and then king c3, h5, trying to promote the pawn, but the pawn is not going anywhere. So he stopped with the bishop to g3. So king e7, king to d2, king to d7, bishop to b5 check, king to c8, and then king e3 attacking the bishop. Bishop goes to g4, and then bishop to c6, because we have to target all the light square pawns first. Okay, so that's why the bishop to c6 is coming. So we are going to bring the bishop into the game. So bishop f5 and then bishop f3. Here Ravi Teja resigns the game. So why he resigned the game? Because we can try to defend the position with the move like bishop to g6, but still we are going to win with the following continuation like a king f4, king d7, and then king to g5, bishop f7, but still we are gonna capture the pawn. So bishop takes h5, bishop to g8, king f6, and then we can even play try the move a5, but let's say a6 also possible. Bishop f7, we are targeting the piece now, so bishop has to defend itself. So bishop h7 and then bishop takes e6 check. It's a complete win for white. So that's why, considering the following are the consequences of this move, so he simply resigned the game. So what do you think about this game? Let me know your ideas, thoughts in the comment section below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. And if you are new here, consider subscribing to the channel and press the bell icon to get notified for the future videos. And you can give me the suggestion like what games can be covered, and you are missing anything in the chess world, you can definitely give me the suggestion in the comment section below. Yeah, so this is Chess Visor, your wise choice to improve your chess.